John Jones, sign the contract, mate. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to beat you. You'll be back. Troopers and grinders, welcome to the SkateTank MMA podcast with Hank the Tank and the Idaho Skatesman. And he'll be back, Tom Aspinall, to knock out John Jones when next they meet. Next year, you're going to do what Uncle Dana and Uncle Hunter tell you to, John Jones, as long as everybody has a price for the $1 million man. And that includes you, John Jones. So get ready to sign that contract, baby, for half the company's fucking stocks, because we are going to get Jones versus Aspinall by hook or by crook. Damn it. So that's Hank the Tank's 5 cents. In the aftermath of UFC 309. But what do you have to say about what transpired on Saturday, whether it be in America or in Japan?
So, I mean, it was some bullshit. I don't know. I mean, we didn't really learn anything. It was kind of a pointless fight, but at least we got a cool spinny kick.
We did get a spinning kick, and that's classic John Jones. Throw a kick out of a fucking video game because you can't knock out a guy cold with your fists because we won't get into that part of John Jones's career. But anyway, speaking of honest mediocre, let's talk about Hank the Tank and Idaho Skatesman's performance in the Rush Hour Tapology League. Look at who we got here at number 7 in the entire league. Good old Sean Moody.
Is he still going to call in?
I told him that he could. I messaged him, and he has not responded to me. So Moody's about to take another L after this stream is over. But Sean Moody, congratulations on earning 7th place, and congratulations on Hank the Tank and the Idaho Skatesman for absolutely fucking blowing it for these picks. Although I will say that Skatesman had it perfectly on the money for the main event pick, and that is why he is up 8 spots. So
yeah, I mean, really the goal in any pick'em or gambling situation is to just do better. Like when I used to play Call of Duty, my main goal was to have like a KD that was like higher than 1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as long as you're like over 50%, you're doing all right. But yeah, I mean, 7 out of what was it?
12.
7 out of 12 fights, not bad. Going at over a 50% clip, it's all that matters. But if you actually go up to the top for me really quick of the list,
hey Jamie, pull that up.
You'll see that Granite and Pullman are 1 and 2,
is even crazier.
And they usually go like with the most off the wall picks. So just kind of shows you that this card in particular didn't go like the way that a lot of people thought that it would, the pundits and all that stuff out there. So congratulations to those two. Granite got his first win of the year, or second win.
Let me mention one thing about In the Granite's win. Guess who was in his live chat when he was making his picks?
Who?
Hank the Tank. And might have swayed 1 or 2 of those picks.
Okay.
So, congratulations to Hank the Tank.
Just try to take credit anywhere you can, I see.
In the number 1 position. But to be fair, I was only saying shit after Granite already made his picks. But we did align on quite a few. So good job to In the Granite.
But yeah, you know what? 15, 9, and 1. Mr. Big Red, shout out to him. He had a fantastic suggestion. Hank the Tank's going to eat a ghost pepper.
Mm-hmm. I that's a fun punishment for me. So I don't have to have irreversible damage to the shin bone. Instead, it'll be to my tongue. And dude, I was like chewing on something, and then I chewed like right through it as I was eating, and I bit my tongue. So
it's the worst.
I think that foreshadowed my fate at the end of the year. So I'm not looking forward to that. If that's just a part of what I'm going to be dealing with, I'm not excited.
What's up, Anakin?
Anakin MMA, the goated SkateTank MMA clipper. Keep up the good work, buddy.
So yeah,
Hank the Tank $0 in.
He's gonna inevitably lose. It's kind of mathematically impossible, I think, at this point for him to actually catch me in our little pick'em contest. So get a Ghost Pepper live on stream. We'll be Hank the Tank here soon. So tune in live for the pay-per-view.
Yes, sir. And it shouldn't be like on any like recap or pick stream. It should be a whole stream just dedicated to Hank the Tank undergoing this, just so that people can like get ready for it.
We should do like a special end of the year
Yes,
stream where you
special
have to eat a ghost pepper.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna destroy my computer. Dude, the milk is gonna come out my fucking nose and destroy. I got a computer behind this computer. I'm gonna like literally short circuit the entire fucking house and electrocute myself. But that's okay because we are doing it live for you fucking guys. And there
Right.
you go. That's the wonderful results of UFC 309. Curse you for making In the Granite and Sean Moody above Skatesman and Hank the Tank. But
Yeah, and if Sean Moody's here at all or whatever he's doing, hanging out with that guy who gets freaky with dogs and smokes meth, he can call in anytime and brag. We'll give it to him.
Yep. Willie time. But in the meantime, speaking of interesting outcomes, let's talk about Hank the Tank's locks and underdogs for the weekend, which I did pretty good at, to be honest. And I'm always doing solid when it comes to Cage Warriors, lock and underdog. Patty McCory, the tough reject who actually showed a lot of heart this season of tough. He came back in stellar fashion and got a round one knockout, just as Hank the Tank predicted on Ty Palmer. Because people forget, man, he stumbled the Speed, who was he took on in the tough semifinals, and he was wait, what was his name? It doesn't matter. The
Man,
bacon
it's almost like nobody cares about Cage Warriors.
that is true. Wait, no, nobody cares about tough. They probably care about tough even less, to be honest. But anyway, Patty McGorry had a stellar tough season, and he showed it here with a very quick, less than a minute knockout of Ty Palmer. And then he did something pretty based afterwards. He took a weed paper and he was rolling it up, licking the weed paper and rolled up a doobie right after he won. So Isha Helwani and Idaho Skatesman level of tactical victory strategy celebration. So
What?
that was nice. And then we had Hank's underdog for the event. Wesley, honestly, Skatesman's drunk, and yet I sound less coherent than Skatesman does right now. Wesley Maya got the round one sub on Alexander Loof. Didn't in even better fashion than I expected. He was supposed to be the striker, and Alexander Loof was supposed to be the wrestler.
Some weird stuff over the O's in his name.
Yeah, it's Loof. It's Loof.
Hmm.
And Wesley Maya decided, hey, dude, looks like I'm actually getting the better of the grappling against this guy. Why don't I take him down? That's exactly what he did. And then got to the backpack Charles Oliveira style and locked in the rear naked choke for the win. So let's fucking go, Wesley Maya. He is back in the Cage Warriors bantamweight division. He'll probably be the next title challenger. So big stuff happening for good old Maya.
No, because nobody cares about Cage Warriors.
Unless he gets signed to Tough, and unless he gets signed to Tough or the UFC, in which case, Hank the Tank was a genius the entire time, and we just didn't see it coming. And then we had KSW locks and underdogs, which I did 50-50 for this one. I'll admit it. But
That was the card, their 100th event.
Yes, it was. It was actually quite the freaking show, dude. Everything you could expect from KSW, just bunch of steroided Polish freaks of nature beating the absolute shit out of each other and
With like fake brand, fake tattoos that are like a brand on their bodies.
Yes. The good old days. What the UFC used to be fucking doing with those shorts before they got rid of it and fucked over the fighters. But that is another story entirely, or a story for another day at the very least. But we got Hank the Tank's locks and underdogs for the event. One of them was a man by the name of Arkadiusz Rozek, getting the round one knockout of Mateusz Scheffel.
Show him on the screen.
The man just has dynamite in his fists. He's getting nothing but before the first minute knockouts because it's the regional scenes. And Mateusz Scheffel was the Brazilian they had to knock out. And goddamn it, he did just that. The place went fucking crazy.
Isn't Warsek the guy that knocked out Badr Hari?
I think so. Yeah.
In kickboxing, yeah.
Dude's been on a huge winning streak as of late. Guys got dynamite in his fists, so got showed on the biggest stage of them all in KSW. So
well, yeah, I'm glad because Warsek, after he knocked out Badr Hari, they like had a rematch, and then he got dropped, and then there was a riot, and they kicked him out of Glory because he beat Badr Hari twice. So yeah, I'm good to see him getting some wins on the regional scene.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and I think this was sort of the saddest story of the event, for a certain guy by the name of Darko Stosic, guy who took Phil DeFree, the fucking heavyweight goat, outside of the UFC to a fifth round before he gassed out. This was Phil DeFree's 11th title defense in KSW. And Stosic had somehow an even worse performance than he did the first time around, despite being in his prime age-wise, and Phil DeFree being at the back end of his career. I guess it's not the back end, though. Guess it's the fucking middle, or honestly, it could be the start, because Phil DeFree beat the shit out of Darko Stosic on the feet and then took his ass down to the ground and just ground and pounded him out, finished him. So classic vintage Phil DeFree performance. There wasn't a hole in his game for the whole fucking fight. So this was truly out of left field, to the point where Phil DeFree's biggest fan, Isha, even said that he was picking Darko Stosic to win, and he was fucking shocked. So
Wow.
What a freaking outcome. Amazing from Phil DeFree. And where you at, Francis? Where you at? Phil DeFree is in your future, Buster. So look out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would absolutely be cool. But that was huge. Like the place, the chat fucking blew. Nobody saw that coming. So, and there were a lot of Serbs in the chat too who were rooting for Skosic. And when he lost, dude, they lost their damn minds. And it started insulting the host. He had to ban like 15 people. Oh no, it was bad. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta love KSW, dude. KSW 100, that's the shit, man. So anyway, that was it for Hank's locks and underdogs. But there were a few more shows. Other than that, there was UFC 309. There was the very prestigious Paul versus Tyson card. Oh my god. And Rizin Landmark 10, which that and KSW, that and Cage Warriors, to be honest, those three were like the best shows of the year. I mean, not the year, of the weekend. Oh no, please. No.
It's true. So yeah, I mean, I tried to watch Rizin Landmark, but honestly I was so tired and I just passed out. Had a long day today.
Gotcha.
It's a crazy day. But yeah, just if you can, just quickly recap Rizin.
Sure. I actually did really well for Rizin this time around. I believe there were how many fights were on the card?
9.
Let me check that. No, not 9. It was way more than 9. It's a landmark event. So they're gonna put all of their talent in those shows. 15 fights in total, and Hank the Tank got 13 out of the 15 fights right. So good shit from Hank the Tank. Let's go through it really quick since I picked every single fight on there. 1 second. Lots of classic Rizin finishes on the card as well, which is pretty much exactly what you could want from a Rizin card. Stupid fucking ads.
Chuck Norris
started off on a bad note with a man by the name of Sho Hiramatsu defeating Daisuke Tatsumi, who is a sort of aged vet in Rizin, by round 2 KO. I believe Hiramatsu had a pretty embarrassing loss before this, so everybody was picking Tatsumi because he was way more technical. But dude, classic fucking Rizin, quick round 2 KO from the underdog with a terrible record to start the card. And then we had Chuck fucking Norris getting the round 1 sub of Katsuyoshi Sasaki. I mean, how can anybody beat Chuck Norris at this stage in his career? Come on, he almost beat Bruce Lee. So
only way he can lose is if he beats himself.
Yes, that's what she said.
Bruce Lee did kill him, though. I don't know if you saw that movie.
That is true, and he also yeah, that's right, in the scene, and he like snapped the neck, and then he was sad. He was sad.
Like a cat was watching. And it was actually in the Roman Coliseum, too. That was a pretty badass movie.
Yeah, great movie. And then we had Taito Gubota beating Junya Hibuno by round 2 KO. Old man gets it done against a young guy who is clearly not built for Rizin. He was not Rizin level, if you can believe that. We got 7 and 9 guys in Rizin. And then Alibek Gadzmatov gets the round 1 ground and pound KO of Daichi Kitakata. Classic. Oh, he's from Russia. Got to put him in here to smash some people in Rizin. It's exactly what he did. Round 1 KO. Got to keep up the round 1 finish streak. Damn it, it's over. Alan Yoshihiro Yamaniha beat Saigo Yamamoto by round 2 sub. Pretty easy.
A lot of names there.
Yeah, big names. This guy, I think people were expecting him to get a pretty quick ground and pound finish, but he's even more of a crotch sniffer than everybody was thinking, because you end up getting the unanimous decision win over Mr. Rikuto Shirakawa. I believe he's 7-9. So honestly, sort of an embarrassing performance.
Yeah, crotch sniffing and Rizin is shocking too in general.
Yeah, but it's happened. It is a rare species. Here's a pick that Hank the Tank got right on the money. The single Canadian in Rizin, and he's single, ladies. Tony Laramie beat Yutaro Muramoto by unanimous decision because he's not the finishing type, but he is a dominant kickboxer flyweight.
Did you watch the whole card, like every fight?
No, I watched like the last 3 fights because I had just finished UFC 309.
Oh, that's right.
And then I did the post show afterwards, so I didn't have a lot of time for it. I did look back at the replay and watch the finishes I wanted to see, though. So that was a good time. He should really like the card. But then again, he always likes the card. So don't know if you could take that opinion. Then in a shocking upset for Rizin, Hiroya Kondo beat Yuya Shibata by round 3 decision. This guy was 4-5, where Shibata was on like a 4-5 fight win streak in Rizin. Nothing but fucking knockouts. But the way you beat these finishers, man, is to just grind them out to a decision. It's exactly what happened. So easy money for the old underdog. And then this is a close one. Man, Rizin came close to getting a decision fucking streak, if you can believe it. Yuki Ito beat Jung Young Lee via TKO with only 1 second left in the fight.
Wow.
Big ass elbow. So Max Holloway ain't got nothing on this guy. Trust. Good shit from Ito. Blonde guy wins every time in Japan. And then the consummate professional Red Horse Kyung Pyo Kim beat Daigo Kuramoto by round 1 KO. Just when you expect the decision merchant to keep grinding out over 3 rounds, he gets a round 1 KO. It has to be the Rizin effect, ladies and gentlemen. And then Kyoma Akimoto beat Suzuki by round 3 decision. And here we have the inverse. Someone who's supposed to get a finish grinds out the other guy through the grappling to get a unanimous decision win. They're just playing tic-tac-toe at this point, Skatesman. And then
the fat guys. I actually watched this fight before I fell asleep.
What do you think of this fight?
I don't know. I was falling asleep.
Hey, Vietnamese style. Good to see you, my man. Always good to see the Vietnamese here. But Tsuyoshi Sudario defeated Hisaki Kato by round 3 KO. Big men going at it. Honestly, not a lot of time spent on the ground. A lot of it was on the feet. Just 2 blubber balls just swinging at each other. And Sudario was just the bigger man, and he just chinned him real bad. So, gotta love it. Love when the lights get shut out on a Rizin card. Here was my moment of the entire card. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Ryusei Ashizawa, after that fantastic fight against Koji, I wanted him to finish this old vet, nasty style, and just go crazy with all the fans, roar, new star. And that's exactly what happened. Big knee to the fucking body. I swear he kneed him like bam, 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 3 or 4 times in the clinch. Sent him right down, dude. Classic Ashizawa. And then he went crazy and did a little dance. So there we go. We got a new star on our hands, folks. Ashizawa. And then we had the aged veteran Ayaka Hamazaki getting the round 2 submission win against Yuri Shim. Better grappler. I knew that she was going to dominate on the ground, but not to this extent. So let's fucking go, Ayaka. Keep proving
it's Rizin, though. Like, these girls, like, especially Hamasaki, like, she always gets subbed. Really old, but good for her, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, the problem is that they don't really have a lot of atom weights anymore. It's like literally just Seika Izawa like beating everybody that they throw at her. So she's like cleaned out the division, and now there's just like kind of nobody, and they got to throw Hamasaki in fucking main events to this day, which is pretty good.
To this day, you think she was worthy of a co-main event? Yeah.
Oh, what?
So. Is she worthy of a co-main event?
Why does it have this one as the main event and the other one as the co-main?
This is the co-main event. This is the main event right here.
Got you.
Yeah. We had Vugar Karamov beating Kamumasa Majima in classic Rizin fashion. Less than 30 seconds, round 1 KO. Big overhand right, sleeps him. And you gotta fucking love it from Rizin. That's how you top off a card right there. So
yeah, especially when everybody's like half asleep, half dead. You love just like a quick finish in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go, Rizin.
Next, we should talk about the disaster that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I personally don't want to talk about every fight on the card.
There are a couple to talk about, just two, in my opinion. Maybe three, but I think two.
Yeah, you can talk about Mario Barrios and whoever the fuck he fought really quick if you'd like. Go ahead and pull up the card.
Sure.
But while you do that, I'll just mention that I think that a lot of sports like during the card, they actually promoted a WWE event going to Netflix.
Right.
And there's been rumors that possibly the UFC was going to do a deal with them. Even Dana himself has kind of hinted at it. By the way, what's up, Matua, in the chat? Good to see you. But obviously, probably one of the main talking points coming out of this event is the disastrous like streaming quality that everybody experienced. All the interruptions, the lag. I mean, at one point, Netflix just like cut out. It was pretty much worthless to even try to refresh it because it was just dying for literally everybody. Do you think that this hurts their potential for like having new sports organizations want to do live shows on their platform, or do you think it doesn't matter because they're going to just throw so much money at people that they'll just sign with them inevitably?
In terms of wrestling, I think they got wrestling hook, line, and sinker because that deal with Raw has already been made, and
Sure.
WWE used to be on Peacock. Was it Peacock? You want to talk about bad streaming services? They settled for Peacock, and so Netflix is actually an improvement for them. But when it comes to actual like live sports organizations, I see them getting a couple, but not all of them. Honestly, if I were the UFC, I would not sign the deal after seeing how shitty the streaming service is for Netflix, just because there are more unpredictable moments in MMA, and you do not want any freezes when you're
Well,
showing
but
those.
I mean, but not to mention like ESPN Plus is already such a shit app. I mean, I've literally back when I actually was buying pay-per-views, there's been times where I wasn't able to actually watch them because there was just no way. Every time you try to watch it, it would redirect you to going to pay for it again. So, but obviously it wasn't as bad. Like this was disastrous level. Like everybody I knew that tried to watch, which by the way, everybody and their fucking mom tried to watch this fight.
Crazy.
And with fucking Mike Tyson, and like everybody had a hard time.
Sold out.
But even with that, like if you missed the main event or were barely able to watch it, like me, you didn't really miss anything. But yeah, with that being said, go ahead and talk about Mario Barrios and whoever the fuck he fought, because I heard it was actually a pretty good fight. There were some knockdowns, but from what I heard, Abel Ramos was supposed to get the decision win in the end, and he did not.
I personally had Barrios up by 1 or 2 rounds. I think it was a very close fight. I could easily see a judge giving it a draw. Like it wasn't clear enough that, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't get that decision, because it was very back and forth, like you said. Barrios started out quick, getting I believe a round 2 or round 3 knockdown of Abel Ramos, and there was a moment even earlier where he just stumbled him on the feet, like he didn't know where he was going. Mario Barrios just was taller. He had power and speed advantage. I think a lot of people were expecting him to get a quick finish here, but Ramos, tough as a $2 steak. He kept himself in there, tried to gas Barrios out a little bit. And then once Barrios started to slow down, then Ramos was starting to hit him with the heavy shots. But Barrios' his face was a bloody mess. He got knocked down. I thought, oh my God, Ramos is about to get a finish here. He did not. Barrios got to his feet and then grinded it out, dude. Barrios didn't take the Floyd Mayweather approach. He was like, okay, you want to box? Let's box. I'm going to show I'm the better boxer here. And both men just showed a lot of heart and grit. But I think Ramos won the battle towards the middle of the fight, but Ramos won, towards the middle of the fight, and then Barrios won the war towards the end, just because he got a few more rounds at the end that helped him survive. Just looking at these scorecards.
That kind of makes sense why people were like, oh, it was a robbery. Barrios should have lost, because generally the fighter that does better at the end of the fight is the one who wins in the eyes of the fans. Do you think it's still fair for me to like? I've never been high on Mario Barrios. I've always thought that he isn't much in the way of like super talented boxer. Do you think my criticism of him is still fair after viewing this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think your criticism is even more warranted after this one. But I will say that if you fade him in his future fights, like don't be surprised if he just gets an early knockout. in his next one because he still has the power to just beat guys that he shouldn't be beating. But if they survive and go all 12 rounds with him, then you're going to talk about fading Barrios in a live bet, So Doc got power, but not much else. Sort of like Tank Davis in a way. But
nah, dude, fuck that. Tank Davis can box his ass off.
that is true.
He just chooses to lose rounds against people and then knock them out in the later half. But yeah, obviously the only fight of note was Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. By the way, no knockouts on this card, at all, which is
it hurt.
a really bad look. Just in general. I mean, I know people that paid like $50,000. I don't know these people, but I know that people did pay $50,000 to sit like
Crazy.
Close to the ring. Ridiculous. But yeah, this fight
we got two really good fights on the card.
Yeah, and thing about this fight was, did you watch their last fight?
I did. I've watched highlights of it. Didn't watch the whole fight.
Their last fight was basically the same thing. Just a great boxing match. Slobber knocker. These ladies, just they do such fantastic work. Credit to both of them. They're both excellent boxers. But yeah, their last fight went the same way, right? Where Katie Taylor, I thought she lost the fight. It was close, but I thought Amanda Serrano did the better work. She ends up losing a decision to Katie. This fight, to me, was even more clear that Amanda won. And especially with the point deduction for the headbutts that opened up a huge gash on the side of Amanda Serrano's head. I thought they were going to stop the fight at one point, but
I thought,
yeah, man, there you go again. Amanda Serrano loses another decision to Katie Taylor in a fight that most people thought she clearly won, and even more so this time. It's interesting because Katie Taylor. It sucks that that's the story of the fight, that Katie wins another decision she shouldn't have, because Katie Taylor, I mean, she got hurt in this fight. Mm-hmm. She came back. She's a fucking just hell of a boxer.
Still
also, I wanted you to do a Katie Taylor impression.
Oh God. Give me some adjectives for her nasally accent.
I don't know. I would do it, but it's like, oh well, I went in there and I tried to box, and Amanda Serrano.
I'd like to thank me coaches Ariel. It was a tough ass crap, but Amanda Serrano, we can have a dance again, mate. Oh, thank you, the crowd. You really helped me out here, lad. I want to be on the Ariel Helwani show tomorrow. Good shit, lad. I crap me tweezers, man.
Yeah, I mean, what's weird after this fight is the only fight that makes sense for either of these ladies is a third fight, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, it's always great every time these two get in the ring, but I'm so glad that this fight happened underneath the debacle that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, because it gave these ladies a lot of eyes, and people know now, like, hey, you know what? And I was trying to explain to the people I was watching the fight with, it's like, these women have to box 2-minute rounds, so it's a sprint every time. Yeah. And women's boxing, man, it ain't bad.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, there were multiple moments in this fight where they're just like back and forth, quick ass punches. It was just like 17, 18 punch combinations on each other. That was fucking wild. So whenever they engaged in that back and forth, that was fucking awesome. And usually Katie Taylor was getting beaten up during those sorts of exchanges, because I think Serrano's faster. But unfortunately, Taylor is really good at just countering. Like, whenever Serrano would throw like a big right hook, just bam, counter left that would just push her back a little bit. I did think that Serrano won by a round. Like, I had it pretty close.
Really?
Yeah. Going into the last round, I counted each round.
I thought she won clearly.
There were some rounds that I counted for Serrano that other people were like, "What are you talking about? That's Taylor's round." So I might have switched my scorecard on some of those. So
I wasn't watching the fight like to judge it. I was kind of with some people, just kind of watching it. I thought that Katie Taylor only won like 2 rounds. Wow. Like, personally. But another thing that was interesting is you know how they read the judges' names before every fight. I didn't recognize any of the judges in any of these fights, man. And that's the Texas Commission for you, man. They're the worst commission there is.
Besides New York.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, it's if you had her winning by one round, then that makes me feel a little better about the decision. I think another thing to talk about is that Amanda Serrano's brother, who is also her coach, who's like this weird, creepy dude.
Oh yeah,
talking about how like
just intervened.
Yeah, he was like, we want a PFL fight. It's like,
great.
What?
How smart.
Let's do it like PFL. Let's run a PFL. It's like, all right, dude, what the fuck?
New Pat Barry, boxing version of Pat Barry right there. Void of low pitch, Keebler elves, cookie robbery. Okay, Matua is speaking some spoken word poetry. I leaned Katie in this fight. And see, Matua, I think, was one of the people that was commenting in the stream. So you might have been the reason why I switched some of my rounds for Serrano. Damn you, Matua. But anyway, great fight, great rematch. And I will probably see a third installment because boxing runs out of options very quickly. And then we had this fucking dumpster fire. So you want me to get
the fight? Sure. I mean, it wasn't. Can you even call it a fight? It was like a glorified sparring match.
Knockout clause. Dylan called it.
No knockout clause. Now, what does that mean?
That means that even if someone's hurt, whether it's Paul or Tyson, like both guys swear not to finish the other, but just outbox them.
Now, you could convince me that there was a handshake, but as far as a clause written in the contracts for a professionally sanctioned boxing match, I don't believe that one bit for a second.
Well, sorry about that.
But no, I'm just saying, like, but I mean, already you had a professional boxing match that was 2-minute rounds and in 14-ounce gloves. Yeah, I mean, you can't even really call this a fight. It was a shit show, dumpster fire, is what it was. Disgrace.
People felt
now
at the end.
Who gets credit in this debacle? Does Jake Paul get credit for, in my opinion, understanding the assignment in that he was there to put on a show for the people that were, I mean, there was like 70,000 people in Cowboys Stadium. Or does Mike Tyson get credit for going the distance at 58 with a guy like Jake Paul?
I honestly think you give the credit to Jake because he dominated, but he allowed the audience to see enough action. So they're like, okay, we saw 8 rounds of action. And then he was respectful to Tyson afterwards, which gives him a little bit of merit as well.
So I think that's bogus. Total bogus, dude. Why would Jake Paul get credit for having a professional boxing match in which he doesn't perform ably in the bout? Now, who is that benefit besides him financially? It doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit the people that are streaming the fight to have this farce of a fight. To me, it's like, dude, if you're going to go out there and you're going to have a professional boxing match with somebody, you got to give it your all, and try. Because to me, I can't believe I'm even saying this. This is why I didn't want to make any picks on this or even break this match down, because I didn't know exactly what to expect heading in, because it felt like it was going to be like an exhibition that was a professional bout. But in my opinion, like, it was pretty clear to me that Jake Paul carried Mike through this fight, because there was a moment in the 4th round, I think it was, where he hurt Mike Tyson and he kind of pulled back. And he even said in the post-fight press conference that he took it easy on Mike and he wanted to put on a show. And it's just like, that's stupid, man. Like, you're supposed to go out there and do your job. Like, I don't know.
Doesn't legitimize boxing whatsoever.
Okay, but
circus than it already is.
And this isn't boxing.
It isn't. It's celebrity boxing.
Right, there you go. What's up, Lost Soul? He says, Hank the Tank is my king. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I wonder who this could be. You're on thin ice, bud.
Um,
PFL is cool for Amanda. She got 2 subs against 2 cans. New Dylan Dennis of the PFL, I see. Oh, brother.
So, I mean,
Do you think Mike should get more credit of these 2 for hanging in there?
yeah, I do. Unfortunately, even though he really didn't do anything, a lot of people heading into this were like saying Mike Tyson's going to destroy Jake Paul. Coming out of it, everybody was like, I think there was something wrong with Mike. I'm like, he's 58 years old. And it was like almost 20 years to the day since he had a professionally sanctioned boxing match. It's ridiculous. There wasn't something was off with Mike. I think he was hurt heading into the fight.
This event having any success whatsoever, much less the success that it got on Netflix in a sold out building, makes me lose hope in this fucking country. I'll be honest with you. That many people got the wool pulled over their eyes. It actually makes me sick.
Well, in my opinion, like we're living in Idiocracy.
Yep.
The movie Idiocracy, and you know what though? Like, I mean, one thing I will give Jake Paul credit for is the guy is very smart matchmaking wise. Getting people
he's the only one who benefits.
Getting eyes on him and this thing that he's doing. Also, genius move from Jake Paul to put Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano in the co-main event. But yeah, this is a dumpster fire, and I feel worse for even trying to watch it.
Yeah, I should be ashamed because I live streamed it. Oh no, what is wrong with me? Vietnamese style, yes sir. I felt like it was a sacrificial ritual. It would have felt like it even more if Tyson got flatlined in round 2. So honestly, we're lucky that didn't happen. Ring rust, yeah, and just general age. It's because Tyson fought like what in 2020, like 4 years ago. So
he had it. Well, that was an exhibition though,
right?
Against Roy Jones Jr. It's like, okay, say it's an exhibition. Don't say it's a professional boxing match. Get people to fill up Jerry's World and put on a fucking stinker, where you're not even trying.
Yeah, we're at the point where Floyd Mayweather's firing the refs during his fights. So it's a great month for white folks. Gotta give him credit. Trump won, Katie won, Chandler and Stipe ruined it.
That's fucking hilarious.
What the fuck is that comment? Okay.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so I guess
summer.
Coming out of that, a few questions linger, like what's next for Jake Paul?
Another fight against a weathered veteran, this time in MMA, for him to make a profit. Either that or he actually fights a boxer, tries to dip his toe in again with another Tommy Fury. I heard people mentioning fucking him fighting Canelo. Hey, Canelo, where are you at, boy? That would have been very interesting, but no way.
I think you might see that, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but you might see that in a couple years. Yeah. The thing about Jake actually having a boxing match with a boxer, to me, is not what people want to see, and I think he figured that out, because if you remember, shortly after his last boxing match with a pro boxer, some guy in August something, he knocked the guy out,
destroyed him,
and he wasn't able to fill a big arena or a small arena with that. So this is obviously the lane he needs to stay in. As far as an MMA match goes, he is signed with PFL. Like, I don't know if you knew that, but he totally is. I also don't think people really want to see that. I think that this is his lane, and he's got to stay in it. I mean, we already saw him get beat by Tommy Fury. I think the only fight that really makes sense for him moving forward is like the final epitome of this stupid celebrity boxing thing, and he should box KSI.
Yeah, he should, because KSI gets his ass beat enough, so it'd be an easy W for Jake Paul, and it gets some eyes on the sport. There's also this one influencer who was in bare knuckle boxing, I believe.
Yeah,
Bryce
what is
Hall.
his name?
Bryce Hall.
Yeah, Bryce Hall. Yes.
That'd be a fun one. I'd enjoy
I
that.
I guess. I mean, if I was advising him, it's like you got to fight KSI, or because nobody cares if you fight fucking Tommy Fury or some other influencer that's not named KSI.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like I'm just kind of like shocked that he would even feel good about what he did on
Yeah.
Friday night. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just
Yeah.
the guy has no shame.
Maybe that's what. Maybe he felt a little bit of guilt in the back of his brain, and that's why he let it go over 8 rounds. He didn't want
Um,
to go to the absolute extreme.
so Mike Tyson did say like he wants to run it with Logan. And Logan said I'd fucking murder you. Uh, is that something? To me, it's like, dude, how does Mike not have any money?
I think somebody said that he was actually in like debt from either some prison sentences or a lawsuit that didn't go his way, and now he's like $110 million in debt, and so he's like paying it off through these
Hey,
fights.
listen, greatest, I mean, greatest heavyweight champion as far as length and longevity of a career, Joe Louis, and just an icon.
Mhm.
He went out broke, and the MGM felt so bad for him that they let him be the doorman for a free room.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, that's a crazy story.
I mean, he died being the doorman at the MGM
Yeah.
because uh, every time he won a bout, he would donate to like the military
Hmm.
and the troops, and he would just write a check from himself to that organization. And so, like later on in his career, um, the IRS came after him. He was millions of dollars. That's why he fought
Yeah.
Rocky, was because he had no money. Um, so yeah, I mean, boxers go out sad, man. It's really rare that you get um, a guy like Khabib just
Yeah.
retiring from the sport
Yeah. In
altogether.
general, fighters don't go out on top, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what made Robbie Lawler's retirement all the better. That's still probably my favorite.
Oh, I have some things to
MMA.
say about Stipe, but
Yeah,
yeah, man, I don't want to see Mike do anything unless it's against another old legend.
I agree. Exhibition boxing as
Yes.
well, but yeah, book Jake versus KSI. Like, how long do you see the train of Jake Paul boxing going? Like 2 years, 3 years? Like, how long do you think that you could keep the gravy train going?
Well, you said it yourself. Like, it's almost a reflection on like the state of. I mean, this fight was huge, bro. Like
Mhm.
people that like
This
okay,
is why
I was
Kobe
saying
Whittle is a fan of the channel in the first place, because he's like, dude, are you going to watch Paul versus
that's
Tyson?
so
All
true.
those months ago.
Um, so in Montgomery, Alabama, I was staying with a family friend of mine that is like my mom's friend, and like she wanted to watch this boxing match.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like that should just tell you like the level of fucking eyes that were on this. So I mean, it's hard to tell, but and I think that the bigger part of it too is like as long as Jake does this weird thing where he's not actually like boxing, but he's like celebrity boxing, as long as he can keep like interesting enough names that people want to tune in, I don't know when it stops.
yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. Skate's new studio is awesome, according to Isha from the City Life Project. Yes, it truly reflects his construction worker life, man. But dude, if you saw him in any other room where he is right now, you'd be, holy shit, Skatesman is rich. He was bad and bougie, bad and bougie. Idaho tradesman. I can see
Right.
Matua was a big fan of that nickname. Plus 10 name points for that one. Hank Fartpiss, poetry from King's World, and I couldn't agree more. But let's get to what everybody has been waiting for in this recap stream. The card that was the card of all time that was UFC 309. Let's get into it. And also, I saw on the Tapology screen just before I got into the 309 page, dude, Macau, UFC Macau, it's coming up next weekend, dude. I am looking so forward to that. Peter Yan versus Figgy might honestly be one of the best main events UFC's
That was a fantastic fight.
here.
But yeah,
I'm really excited.
Overall rating for the card from you?
Honestly, I'd say it was a 6. I
Why'd
give
you
it a
say
6
it like that? Why was your voice so high pitched?
because I no matter what I choose, I feel bad about saying it because this card is just all over the fucking place. There were some moments where I was like, "Yeah, I'm excited," and then other ones where I'm like, "God, I can't wait for this to be over." And another fight. This is random as fuck, and this is honestly bad for the sport. But hey, I'm enjoying it. You know,
like a lot of UFC shows, either the prelims or the main card is good. So when the main card is better than the prelims, we're obviously more happy. But like this one, the prelims were better, and then
slowly got worse and worse as time.
Yes. Like so, I'm over here in Louisiana hanging with some cousins that are again casual fans, but they wanted to watch this card, and they were having a good time up until the main card started, and they were like, "This is boring." I was like, "Yeah, this sucks." But yeah, Eduardo Mora dominates Veronica Hardy in the grappling exchanges, and neutralizes her for the most part. Looks okay in a win. She moves forward. Good for her. Veronica Hardy now 9-5-1. Jeez.
I mean, she was on good win streak going into it at the same time.
Talk to me.
Hardy was just undersized in this fight. Like, despite Mora being a strawweight moving up, she was still, and I said this in my breakdown, she's still taller than Veronica Hardy, and she looked it. And what really shocked me was that Hardy had nothing for Mora on the feet. Like, I thought, okay, this is going to be a classic striker versus grappler matchup where Hardy's going to be doing more, getting some jabs and some combinations off, and then Mora's going to try to shoot for the takedown, and depending on whether she gets it or not, that'll decide the fight. No, it was just a one-sided fucking beatdown from Eduardo Mora. Like, what I'm noticing from wrestlers more and more often in the UFC is they use the first round to test if their striking's good in the fight, which is actually a really smart strategy. Like, unless you're getting like pieced up in the first round, then you shooting takedowns in the first. But if you're making it competitive on the feet, like that's part of that fear going into the fight is sort of dissuaded if you're having like a competitive striking match with the other one. And if you're winning the striking match, then in the second round, it's like, oh, now I can do whatever I want. Like, I don't even have to be afraid of the stand up. I can just take this person down and beat him up. I'm seeing that from wrestlers more often in the UFC because it seems to me like we're starting to get more of a movement of striker wrestler hybrids, like fighters that are good with everything. I know that's been around for a long time, but I'm seeing a lot of wrestlers that are starting out the first round striking. They want to test out their striking because they know at the top they're going to have to try that striking at some point, or else when they find someone who's going to stuff the takedowns, there's going to be trouble. So I see a lot of
until you get mad at them because they don't look as good as they did when they were fighting lower ranked fighters.
And my point is about to be proven correct when we get to the main card, Skatesman. We're going to get to that fight. But Mora looked fantastic on the feet, had height and reach advantage. Honestly, I should have just went with my gut and picked Mora. I shouldn't even have listened to predictors in this fight because I would have picked Mora, like just based on me looking at the fight.
But so listen, Hank, I've stopped listening to like pretty much most MMA content in general because I don't want my picks influenced by anybody else but me.
Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, it's never been the case for me.
That was gross. What'd you just do?
There was a little skin in my gums. It's like because I think I ate some hot food, and so part of my mouth got burnt. So I was just ripping part of the gum.
Might as well eat some Captain Crunch.
Yeah, exactly. Some sharp tortilla chips. But yeah, Eduardo Mora, she just looked great, man, the entire fight. And when she needed to shoot the takedown, she was like, "Oh, I'll just do it." And then
looked fat next fight.
So, absolutely embarrassing. And I think Mora's going to do pretty well at flyweight. Then we had the Welsh gangster, Oban Elliott, with a shocking knockout of Basel Hafez, especially since Elliott was mostly just doing leg kicks. And then out of fucking nowhere, big overhand right puts him out. By the way, I'm a drug addict. I can't quit. I'm really sorry if that's true, King's World. Love what Skate just said. No influenzo. I need help, drug addict, chronic. Check yourself into rehab, my friend, and try to make it by any way you can, man. Reach out to family and friends. Like I'm not even joking. Like I'm being
I'm
serious.
trying not to laugh, but
Yeah,
I
Skatesman.
don't know what else to say. It's making me uncomfortable. Yeah, Obon Elliott. I said it before in the preview show. Like, dude's looking good. He's coming up. Great mic work, improving steadily.
In New York too. He did a great
Yeah,
job.
I mean the fight was decent. I thought Basil would do better. Just put up more of a fight. And he gets finished by a really nice right hand from Obon Elliott. Hammer fisted out. Fucking A, man. Dude's killing it. Really excited to see what Obon Elliott does up the rankings.
I am too. And it's just interesting that he took a very hesitant approach in the first 2 rounds with a lot of leg kicks, maybe a jab or a body shot every once in a while. And then Obon Elliott just woke up and chose violence and just hit that giant overhand right on Basil Hafez, showing that the old gloves are truly back, ladies and gentlemen, with the 3rd round knock. Obon Elliott got a knockout. It's a miracle, ladies and gentlemen.
So I want to address that. There is evidence that shows that there was less knockouts with the new gloves that are now the old gloves, but the sample size is just not big enough, so it's inconclusive. Take that for what you will.
Yeah. But either way, I'm just happy they're back. We get more Chris Weidman eye pokes, so look forward to that, troopers and grinders. Our next fight was Ramiz Brahimaj getting another massive knockout back-to-back on poor old Mickey Gall.
So this was the start of Hank the Tank's horrible night that he had watching this card. Mental anguish. Hank is back. It reminded me of your last fight companion. Reminded me of when Conor McGregor came back. He's wearing a pink suit and he was all nice and he's all happy. And then he came back and he's like, what did he say? Your wife sent me DMs. This was your wife sent me DMs, Hank. For this, as soon as Ramiz Brahimaj viciously knocked out poor old Mickey Gall, Hank the Tank was just done. He's done with MMA. This sport sucks. I hate this sport. But I was really happy for Ramiz because though he wasn't ever super exciting, the guy had some skills that he brought to the table. Damn near got his ear severed off in a fight. Suffered a bad injury, looked like shit against Themba Garimbo, and he comes back and fucking knocks Mickey Gall out. How good is CM Punk?
He's the
anyway.
GOAT. He's the GOAT.
But no, I was really happy
in that ring, even on commentary.
I was really happy to see Ramiz bounce back in this way on a big card. Super sick for him. The guy, he's got good wrestling. That's pretty much all he was known for. Dude's got hands now, so sick shit for Ramiz.
Yeah, and I felt sort of bad about it too because Mickey Gall in the early moments of this first round was actually hitting Brahimaj with some nice counter shots, having that slick boxing that he had against Basil Hafez. But what Ramiz Brahimaj had in his back pocket was the clinch. Because every time he seemed to pressure Mickey Gall and bring him forward, bam, he hit him with an elbow. Bam, he hit him with a right hand. And I believe it was the 3rd clinch that he had Gall in. He was just left hand, right hand, overhand. And the 3rd hit of the sequence was what knocked Mickey Gall out. So crazy ass finish, back-to-back fight of the night, performance of the night bonuses. And I feel very happy for Ramiz Brahimaj as well. After that fucking ear injury, he does deserve it.
So now you feel happy for him?
After hearing from Idaho Skatesman. Post-nut clarity. So
yeah, it's Mickey should clearly be cut, right?
Yeah, he should. But he's the UFC's childhood friend.
I like this comment from Matua. He says, I like Ramiz's Conehead hat. Yeah, that was I mean, dude, stop giving your hat to Joe Rogan. There's no reason for him to be wearing your fucking hat.
He honestly looks bad in most of the hats he wears, too.
I agree. The guy just shouldn't wear hats.
Yeah, he's already bald. He's already an egghead. He doesn't need to be more of an egghead.
Okay, and then this was the continuation of Hank's terrible night. big fan of Yonata Denise is Hank. He just loves this man so much. I said, hey, you know what? Marcin Tybura is going to win this fight. But I was, yeah, honestly, Denise, bro, he got out wrestled in this one. Finally, me fading Denise paid off because I was like, Marcin Tybura, he's got some good striking. He's not Carl Williams. He's not Austin Lane, where he's just a dumbass. You called him Frankenstein's monster, and you called him a dumbass. I said no. Marcin Tybura is a vet. He's fought good names, lost to good names, but he guys got skills, and skills paid the bills tonight, man. He out wrestled Denise, just smothered him, and gets that TKO, man. Super happy for Marcin because Nutson Denise was a hot prospect coming up, and honestly, like I get these kickboxers coming over into MMA, but not all y'all can be Alex Pereira and Izzy, unfortunately. And honestly, like Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and now Yonatson Denise. Just go kickbox, dude. That's all you're good at.
Yeah, he'd make more money. Well, I mean, to be fair, he did beat the shit out of Carl Williams, which is
oh wow, he beat Carl Williams, the great Carl Williams, dude. He should be in the UFC.
He was taking down all the other strikers, dude, and just laying on him. Like that's the whole point is like, oh, can Denise stuff the takedowns? He stuffed the takedowns with Carl Williams, like 90% of his takedowns. So I think that's still pretty good. But
man, just coping.
And to be fair, they took away that third round from him. The doctor took away the third round from him. I think that's fucking bullshit. He had a bleeding nose. Yeah, the guy in that Brazilian card, he had a bleeding leg, and they stopped the fight over that, Jack Shore. Like, have you ever seen an instance of a nosebleed, like, causing a doctor stoppage?
So at the time, I did think I haven't gone back and watched it. I did think it was kind of a strange stoppage, but also remember this is New York, and last year I remember they had a scorecard being read, or like Bruce Buffer was about to read the scorecards last year at MSG, and a judge ran to the ring, grabbed his scorecard, and they showed him on camera like filling it out again because he had to redo the math. Like, and New York, remember they stopped the fight. They stopped the BMF fight with George and Nate. I mean, that was a much worse cut. I think even more warranted to like stop it. But a lot of people in the City Life Project chat, especially, were like, "Oh no, it was totally a justified stoppage." I do believe he was cut as well, like on his eye. I think that's why they stopped it. But again, watching it live, I was like, "Yeah, this is a weird stoppage." But
I thought his both of his eyes he was seeing pretty clearly, and there wasn't blood getting in his eyes either. So I just don't know why they stopped it. But I will say that Denis, and also upon further consideration, Marcin Tybura is not Frankenstein's monster. He is the Wolfman. I've changed it to the Wolfman because he looked it in the fight. And Denis, I thought that he'd have great takedown defense in this fight. Turned out he didn't. Yeah, well, I'm not a chronic drug addict, King's World, so might want to get your shit in order. Okay, that's all I'll say. But Jonata Denise's great takedown defense from his last couple fights just went out the fucking window. Because Marcin Tybura, whenever he pressures the other fighter against the cage, he just pushes and then whoop, trip, got you down. So I got to say Tybura's unorthodox takedown attempts is what won him the fight here. I don't think he looked that great on the feet against Denise. It makes sense. Tybura's not really that much of a striker. And Denise was hitting him with some bombs. Also, what lost this fight for Denise, he cracked Tybura with a big left hand. Down he went.
Immediately.
Denise made a horrible negative fight IQ decision and joined him on the ground.
Sort of like Steve Erceg in that 5th round against Pantoja.
Yeah. And just like Tybura against Spivak when he decided to roll around with him and then got caught in a random ass fucking armbar. So, but all the heavyweights are fucking morons except for Tom Aspinall and gay ass John Jones. But Tybura was on the bottom, Denise was on top, and Tybura, he just reversed it around, ended up on top himself, beat the shit out. Didn't beat up Denise in the first round. It was the second round where he got that big takedown. And then just battered Denise. I was getting flashbacks to the Austin Lane fight where he just got 10-8'd. And then I was like, okay,
same.
here comes, man. Even though he's beaten, broken, and battered, he'll find that left hand and just shut the lights out. Timber! That's what I thought to myself. And then, nope. And then Skatesman was like, Hank, crash out in 3, 2, 1. And then I crashed out. It was a moderate crash out. It wasn't a big crash because you spoiled it, Skatesman. So you actually, if anything, you mitigated the crash out. But
it got worse as the night went on.
As the night went on, yes. But there were some nice moments midway into the card and in the main card that did make up for it, though. But Yanata Denise, yeah, dude. Yeah, he's not going to get cut because he actually had great performances before this. And people were recommending a fun matchup with Justin Taffa. And I say, go ahead, dude. That would be a great fight. Finally have him go against a striker and just fucking stand and bang. I think that'd be a great bounce back fight.
That would be Matua suggesting Johnny Walker, Johnny Walker's brother. Walker's brother would do the same thing to him. So no, but yeah, Johnny Walker, why not? But yeah, I think that Justin Taffa and him are. I mean, this was a huge step up in competition too for Denise, and I think that that's what hurt him a lot more than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, you could throw him in there with anybody who's going to stand and bang with him. It'll be good.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, though, like, it's like, stop giving him fucking wrestlers.
Yeah, they've been really mean to Yanata Denise, to be honest. More of a reason for Hank the Tank to be his biggest fan. He's overcoming the odds. But then we had, honestly, a candidate for fight of the night. Some people were actually upset that this didn't get the nod and that Oliveira versus Chandler did. Onama took on random-ass regional prospect Roberto Romero, and he gave Onama the fight of his fucking life right next to Nate the Train. Can you fucking believe it?
So, I mean, this is really a testament to how good the lightweight division is, that some random guy can come into the UFC on late notice and just have a banger of a fight with David Onama. Romero, dude, this guy has a chin made of steel. Onama was hitting him with some huge shots. He never went down, but he was giving it right back to David Onama too. In the end, Onama just kind of outpoints him, does enough to win the fight. Though he didn't look exceptional, and it was actually kind of a bad look for him to have such a war with a guy that nobody's ever heard of coming off the regionals. It still was a really exciting fight. And Hank the Tank was so upset over Denise losing that he could not enjoy this fight. And it was at that point that I decided that I wasn't going to watch his fight companion anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, when Romero dropped Onama, I just had an existential crisis for a second and was like, why do I even pick fights? Why do I predict fights when shit like this happens? And I was so up in my feelings at the time that I wasn't enjoying the first 2 rounds of this fight. But towards the end, in the 3rd round, that I was starting to get back into it and getting excited because it was just stand and bang, going back and forth. Onama was having a classic Onama fight where he's just throwing out random shit, hoping that it works. And Roberto Romero, dude, like, I honestly, like, I got to check the UFC roster tracker. I hope that they signed Roberto Romero after this fight, honestly, because he put out a hell of a fucking fight against Onama. It's like one of those fights like Lopez, where it's like, who is this fucking kid? Oh, he's gonna get, steamrolled, and then he comes back and you're like, oh my god, he's him. We got to have him in here, and then he gets signed and goes on to do great things.
I love this kid. He's a badass.
I love everything about this 30-year-old kid. Mick Maynard put in a good word for him. That's why he was on the show. But Roberto Romero, dude, what a fucking fight with David Onama. God, Onama cannot have an easy fight to save his fucking life. Jonathan Pierce put up a worse effort than Roberto Romero, if you can believe it. So, UFC, man, UFC. Some of these low IQ fucking fighters, dude.
Pulse asking if you can call in. Fortunately, only on like post shows and fight companions, but good to see you, Pulse, and hope you're doing good out there in Texas.
That's why I tune in for Hank
for the crash outs.
That's why I got to keep doing them, dude. They're making us some moolah. Let's go. How about it? Skatesman, he's such pain on his face. Oh god, he's like Hugh Jackman in Prisoners. It's a new level of fucking depression here. But then we have Jim Miller. God, vintage Jim Miller performance against Damon Jackson. Competitive fight for a while, and then I swear it it went like a classic like Jim Miller fight from 2012 where, oh my God, Darce, holy shit, got it out of nowhere. This is tight. He tapped. And dude, just goes to show, and Lucas Glazy had it right. Crafty old vets, big meaty hooks. Yeah. You got to trust these crafty old vets sometimes. And Hank the Tank did not learn his lesson because Jim Miller got absolutely fucking schooled by Bobby Green. So took my faith away from Jim a little bit, but you just got to remember there's a reason this dude is 41 and still doing the damn thing. Man knows how to win fights.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing is like Damon Jackson just is totally washed, dude.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, most pressing of which is his fight IQ is just terrible. He was, yeah, as you said, it was somewhat competitive. I mean, it was turning out to be an okay fight until he goes for that takedown and just gets fucking just guillotined by Jim Miller. Latched it on so good. Impressive win for Jim Miller, and now I think he has like 45 appearances in the UFC, first ever to reach that. What a legend this guy is.
Yes, sir. And then after the fight, Jim Miller, even though I don't think he's ever done a political promo in his career, shouted out the squirrel that got euthanized by environmental department. It's out of nowhere, which was interesting. And then he was like, yeah, and I'll have fucking 5 more fights. I'll just go until I'm 55, 60. And I'm like, no, Jim, no, you got to retire after one of these W's, man. Please. I don't want to see you.
He's making money
on an L. Come on, man. But he very well might. And then we had one of Hank's personal favorite fights of the night with Marcus McGee having honestly a fantastic performance against Jonathan Martinez. Despite being the elder of the two, he looked faster. What do you think of this fight, Skatesman?
So I picked Jonathan Martinez. I said, the technical kickboxing of Martinez would edge it out. One thing I did not take into consideration is the fact that Marcus McGee is a pretty big bantamweight, and Jonathan Martinez is not. And he's just, not only is he a little taller than Martinez, but his frame is a lot bigger. He was out working the good kickboxing of Martinez. Unfortunately, is just that kickboxing. His only strike he ever wanted to land was a leg kick. Marcus McGee takes 2 rounds on him pretty clearly, and then in that 3rd round, he just kills Marcus McGee's leg and renders him a one-legged fighter. And instead of I thought that he would be kicking the leg, and then Marcus McGee's like, okay, he's gonna kick my leg, and then I was like, oh, he's gonna set up a high kick now. It never came. He just kept trying to kick the leg.
No way.
I was like, what are you doing, dude? You have this guy hurt. At one point, he clinches him. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what he wants you to do, bro. So, Jonathan Martinez, just low fight IQ, but shout out to Marcus McGee for surviving that 3rd round and just making it through it, getting the decision win. McGee looks good. Definitely not sure of his prospects of being like a contender, but so he's going to be in fun fights. And on the Jonathan Martinez side, guys got some shit to work on and figure out, especially with his hands.
Yeah. And what was crazy is that McGee was still finding ways to get combinations on Jonathan Martinez on one leg, which really showed that he was produced by MMA Lab, because they know how to deal with fighters that are on one leg that still have to fight. But Marcus McGee, dude, he did everything I thought he would do and more. Honestly, I didn't expect him to be throwing out leg kicks early into the fight, but he was throwing out leg kicks before Martinez did. Beat him to the shot on that one. And I honestly think that's what neutralized Martinez's leg kicks early on in the fight. And then as it went on and McGee threw less kicks, that's when Martinez started to throw him. And then whenever they entered the pocket, dude, Marcus always just beat him to the punch. 1-2, jab, jab, jab down.
He was the only one actually trying to box.
Yes.
Martinez was just trying to throw leg kicks.
Throw leg kick, yeah. And I don't that might have started after do you remember how the Saeed Nurmagomedov fight went with Jonathan Martinez? I don't either, but I feel like after the Adrian Yanez fight, when he got the leg kick, TKO, I think that's when Martinez was like, now I know this game plan is working for me to use these legs. This is my secret weapon. But obviously not when you don't throw them in the early half of the fight and save it for the very end, because I saw hardly any punches thrown from Jonathan Martinez in the first half of this thing. Marcus clearly, honestly, schooled him in the second round as well. Like, I thought McGee had in the bag, but got to give credit to Martinez for that leg kick, dude. One of the nastiest leg kicks in the UFC. And McGee was on one leg, still managed to pull through. And like Skatesman said, just negative fight IQ. Lots of negative fight IQ on this card. Let's be honest, guys. With Martinez trying to clinch up. And that is what gave the W to Marcus McGee. So I'm happy that Marcus McGee is fucking ranked. One of the nicest guys in the UFC at the moment. I'll say that. Like, just always humble. And in fact, there was a moment where, like, he wanted to say something more talking to Joe Rogan. Then Rogan was like, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Mark's like, hey, can I? And it's okay. So too nice, man. He's too nice. Let's go, Marcus McGee, ranked bantamweight. What is up, Kobe Wiggle? Kobe Wiggle has been doing nothing but messaging me in the chat about how sad he is about the result of the Paul versus Tyson fight. But I keep telling him, man, Tyson didn't get knocked out. You should feel lucky that it didn't go that way. Miller time. Jim fucking Miller, dude. But then to open up the main card, and honestly, I'm sad that this was booked in hindsight. Mauricio Hoofy taking on James Lontop in the opener of the main card. The start of the decline for the card, in my opinion.
100%. So Lontop landed like, I think it was like 121 significant strikes to Roofy's like, I think he only landed like 60 something. This fight, dude, I could barely watch it because
It's so
fucking
real
Joe
bad.
Rogan, dude. He just would not shut up about Mauricio Ruffy. He looks like Conor McGregor. I swear. I remember when Conor was coming up, and Ruffy, he looks just like him. Look at his stance is the same. He even has similar talent. It's like, dude, I don't know. I was distracted, but
Joe Rogan and Anik, they just glaze the prospects like crazy, dude. Even when they're doing dumb shit, they're like, "Oh man, look at the brilliant, masterful technique they're showing right now." When Gary's like pressuring, you know?
Yeah. So Ruffy, he wins the fight just by landing bigger shots. And this was actually a pretty good scrap. In general, Lontop, dude's a dog, never gave up, always was in the fight, just trying to come back. But it was inevitable he would lose the decision because Ruffy, one thing that really did impress me about him is everything was straight for the most part. Like straight shots, finding the chin of Lontop, hitting him clean. Guy's got a hell of a chin.
Yeah.
But
I actually noticed that when Hoofy started throwing out some of the more unorthodox hooks, that's when he was actually knocking down Lontop. So might want to stick to that a little more as well, though.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think this performance like derails Ruffy's like hype train. But I mean, he kind of just he chose to have like more of a dogfight with a guy, and the guy out volumed him. That could definitely like create problems for him later on.
I do think that Lontop won the third round against Hoofy.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
He won those first two.
So,
but James Lontop, I also got to have more respect for Lontop, man. He was tough as a boot. In this
he looked like shit physically. Like he was like Lontop should be nicknamed Muffin Top because the guy was not in shape. But I think he took it on short notice.
That's why I call him Lollipop because
I think he took it on short notice too. So all the credit.
Yeah.
Credit to him for even just putting on the performance that he did.
I actually wonder if Lontop would have looked even better in this fight if he came in prepared for it. It's interesting to think about. But Hoofy is definitely going to win a few more fights. But against someone in the top 15, I think it could be a pretty close fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also, this was at this point in the card to start the big man, the next president. Showed up with Dana White, walked into the arena. Everybody went crazy for him because I got to admit, the MMA fan base, they love him. And then they sat in the front row. All the members of his posse, his circuit, the Insane Clown Posse, were there with Trump, including Kid Rock. Anisha told me Kid Rock just going crazy in the background. And then they sat at their seats and they played a video package.
Yeah, that was strange to me. I was
minutes. They're not even hiding it anymore that they want to promote him through his appearances on this show.
Yeah, I mean,
it's come on, they've done it.
I mean, look, you clearly don't like Donald Trump, but just in general, like if the president or the president-elect was like backing your product and like friends with you, I mean, wouldn't you want to use that promotionally?
That is true. I mean, Donald Trump did save the UFC in the early 2000s, so I could see why Dana would have him on the show. I just find it weird that the increased amount of attention that they're giving to it, like more and more and more now. It's like after almost every single fight on the main card, like they literally had a Trump cam. Like they didn't even have a Trump cam in earlier shows. Now they have a Trump cam for it. Like I feel like
Yeah, I think we should
it's
probably
starting to
stop
distract.
talking about
But
this
anyway,
in general and just move on to the next
yeah.
fight.
So anyway, next fight.
Vivian Araújo gets the decision win in a pretty lackluster fight. I don't even really. I don't even remember this fight. It was pretty boring.
Yeah. What I remember from it is Karine Silva, like she just like trips over herself when she punches. Like she throws herself forward and then in order to land. And it doesn't remind me of when she would like throw out a high kick and then a 1-2 or an uppercut. Like it doesn't look like she has the same stand-up style anymore because of like the previous performance
They
going into
cloned
the
her.
performance. Yes, they cloned her in a lab with Dolly the Sheep. Hank the Tank's theory on the 90s clone tests continue. Robin
Kanye
Black.
West.
Robin Black is not real. Neither is Jack Black. But
Kanye West.
wait, what?
Kanye West.
Yes. But Vivian Araujo, she just looked better overall. She's just more composed, was more technical than Karine Silva, knew how to counter her in moments and got the grappling in when she needed to. There was a moment where Karine Silva locked in a Darce at the end of the second round and came pretty close. But I actually got to give merit to the judges for not giving her the second round because of that, because she's a hyped up prospect and all that. They still awarded more damage to Araujo. And I honestly think it was a very deserved win from Araujo. So, yeah, too bad, Karine Silva. You're not Natalia Silva. It's a real shame. Vietnamese style commented kid meth. I agree. And then we had, honestly, I think this was probably the worst fight of the entire card. Worst fight of the entire card between Bo Nickel and Paul Craig. And I don't give a shit if the decision's rigged. Actually, I did give a shit here because the decision wasn't rigged, in fact. So I was happy about it. But
So two grapplers with really high accolades. Bo Nickel, one of the best college wrestlers of all time. Paul Craig, Scottish. Just kidding. Jiu-jitsu black belt, whatever. So this happens from time to time, right? Where you have two really high level grapplers have a really bad kickboxing match. Almost was like we have Ben Askren versus Damian Maya at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bo Nickel, I picked him to get a knockout. Said he was steadily improving. I think that he just looked like an MMA fighter that has 7 fights, or 6 fights, now 7. He's really inexperienced. Did some decent work with Paul Craig. It's hilarious that like Paul Craig comes in like in impeccable shape, and he just goes out there ready to just throw up a triangle.
Throw a leg kick. Yeah, and throw a leg kick every now and then. No,
yeah, like, and he's a massive dude.
Yeah. But it's sort of like these middleweights and light heavyweights like Johnny Walker and Paul Craig. Like they just can't throw straight for the life of them. Like with their figures, like in their frames, with the way they fight, they just can't do it. And it's sad, honestly. If Paul Craig had better boxing, like he could actually be a threat at middleweight, but he isn't one whatsoever.
So I don't think that this is like the worst thing for Bo Nickel. Obviously, he got the win. I actually would argue that it's a good thing for him to just get rounds in and have a little boxing match with Paul Craig. The fight was terrible, but good for Bo Nickel.
Yeah. Here's one of my takes that I developed going into this fight, like as the fight was going on. I think that honestly, if Bo Nickel had shot a takedown on Paul Craig, I don't think he would have had to worry about that much because, against Brendan Allen, they were having a competitive scrap and Allen was knocking him down, took him down the ground. And then he out-scrambled Paul Craig and out-wrestled him and then got a submission on him. Like, I actually think if Bo Nickel had shot a takedown on Paul Craig at some point, especially in like the second or third rounds, he could have beaten him up on the ground. He maybe even gotten in an arm triangle on Paul Craig. Like his stock would have, I'm not saying his stock went down because of this fight, maybe a tiny bit because it actually like sort of motivated the Bo Nickel haters to be like, see, now
Right.
anybody could beat him, so that
Yeah,
isn't
but it's
great
like
for him.
the guy only had 6 fights coming into this. What do you
Exactly.
want? What do you
It's
want from him?
understandable. Yeah. But I am saying that I don't think Bo Nickel was in as much trouble on the ground as a lot of people, and including Bo Nickel
Well,
himself.
unfortunately, we never got to
thought he
see them
had it.
grapple.
Yeah, which was sad. That would have been the most fun part of the fight, but it didn't. And then I know Nickel was desperate to be like, hey, shout out to you, Nick's president. Let's fucking go. I got a first round knockout. And then it didn't happen. So rip Bo Nickel. Anyway, next fight. Speaking of a
Yeah.
guy who wanted to look amazing with the highlight reel finish, who did not get it, but actually might have had an even better stock raise in because of the 5th round. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. What do you think of this crazy ass fight?
I didn't think it was all that crazy. It's probably the best fight on the card, I guess.
Right below Onama
I
versus
personally think that this fight underdelivered, especially because their first fight was fantastic. You could tell that Mike was coming into this one like trying to be more composed and not as reckless, which is just sad because that's why we like Michael
Why we
Chandler.
watch him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Would have more of a chance, honestly, if he
yeah, I do think so, but you know, I get stressed out watching Mike fight. I did pick him to get a knockout in this fight, which was obviously dumb. I did say like, hey, Charles by decision is the smarter pick, but
yeah. Well, you had to go with your heart on this one, and I don't blame you
sure,
for that.
sure. And I'm on Michael Chandler Island where I'm like, this guy's cool. I want to see him win.
God, yeah, be at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to see him at the top, but Charles just beat the shit out of Michael Chandler on the feet for 4 rounds, and checkmated him. Every time he would take it to the ground, or Michael Chandler had no answers for him. Was never able to scramble, get up to his feet, create space. Had his back taken multiple times throughout the fight. But as you mentioned, had a 5th round rally. Damn near finished Charles Oliveira. I think that Dustin Poirier's sentiments after their fight just continuously rings true. Like, if Michael Chandler would throw straight shots, he could knock people out more frequently.
Yep.
But he just does not. And there was multiple times in this fight where he would. I mean, even when he almost finished Charles, he threw a punch, and then he would throw a punch and fall over. It's like, oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Michael Chandler's falling over, throwing a punch again.
Yeah.
Again, I really didn't think this fight was all that good just because I know what both of these guys are capable of. And to me, they fought more measured, but you got to be happy for Charles getting a win in this spot. I don't think anyone isn't. A lot of people want to see Mike lose. So, yeah, shout out to Charles. As far as him being the number 1 contender, I guess go ahead and break down the fight. We can talk about that more after you do.
Well, I honestly think a lot of the first half of this fight played out just like the first fight, except I think Chandler got a little more lucky with the striking of Oliveira as he was running away. Like, Charles Oliveira, he's taller than Chandler. He throws straighter shots than Chandler, like you said. And when he's, Charles Oliveira, when he's on the front foot and pressuring guys against the cage, like, that is the most dangerous Charles Oliveira, because I've seen him crack pretty much anybody with a shot when he's got him on the back foot. And he hit Chandler with really nice uppercuts. Another right hand, just sort of mirroring visually the first fight. Bam. Oh, Chandler's running away. He's going like he's backed up against the cage, and Charles is trying to throw as he's running away. And I was thinking, okay, here it comes. Here comes that left hand from Charles. It's going to, down he goes. But that left hand could just never hit. Or if it did, Chandler just fucking took it. And honestly, I think 2 years away might have like sort of healed up that chin a little bit, because I didn't see too many moments where Chandler was like rocked. It was more like, oh, he's hurt, but he's like, stomaching it and still going. There were moments where Charles Oliveira threw jump knees that landed right on the chin of Chandler, and he still kept going, never went down.
Michael Chandler got the fuck beaten out of him by Dustin Poirier. Never went out. That's
just fucking crazy. And it's amazing.
And Justin too.
It's crazy that Charles and Gaethje didn't finish Chandler, did he? Charles Oliveira, of all people, is the only person to knock out
Crazy.
Michael Chandler, which is fucking crazy, dude. That just shows that how like unpredictable Charles Oliveira is in his fights. But
Brent
Chandler,
Primus did it too.
yeah, and also one thing that was crazy. Wait, who'd you just say?
Brent Primus finished him too.
Yeah, fucking goated Brett Primus, dude. Still doing the damn thing in the PFL, by the way. And he's in like a tournament finals too. Like for PFL's next show. That dude is fucking immortal. Anyway, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why. Just asking Ngannou and Ferreira. But anyway, Oliveira, also it was interesting seeing Charles like when he's doing well, like if it were any other fighter, I'd say it was a negative IQ moment. But like because it's Oliveira and Chandler is like not as great as the grappling, like Oliveira takedown spam when he was doing well on the feet, and I don't blame him because it just racked up, round after round after round after round from it was absolute domination from Charles Oliveira first 4 rounds. I will say, and I don't think Skatesman mentioned this, there were moments where Chandler was grabbing the gloves of Charles Oliveira when he was trying to lock in.
Oh, and hitting him in the back of the head. Look, dude, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's true. But that I think a lot of people were pissed with Dustin Poirier after he beat Michael Chandler and was like salty with his win and was like, dude, Chandler was fucking grabbing the gloves. What the fuck, man? They were like, oh, you're whining about it, Poirier. He didn't do anything. And now with this fight, we're seeing that's what Chandler likes to do when he's in a bad position. And hey, Eddie Guerrero mentality. I get it, man. It's what kept him alive. And dude, there was one moment, 4th round, where it was like it was in from Charles. And like, but I will say that Justin Gaethje, when he was getting rear naked choked, he was able to separate Charles Oliveira's lock for a second, and then it got put in even worse. But it goes to show that Oliveira, he's not as much of a Venus flytrap as, let's say, like Hamzat Chimaev, where it's like, oh, he's got it right away. Oh, he's going to tap. Like, it's possible to get out of Charles Oliveira submissions. And that's what happened. So, Chandler survived. And then in the 5th round, that the entertaining round that made this fight of the night, Oliveira's chin got tested. Chandler cracked Oliveira, sent him on the back foot, took him down to the ground, and then beat the tar out of Oliveira on top. I was scared that we were going to get an Usman-Colby finish with the amount of back of the head shots that were going on. But I think the referee noticed that at the same time, and that's why he was like hesitant a little bit. And then Oliveira found a way to get back to his feet. And then we had, honestly, my personal favorite moment of the whole fight, because it's one of my favorite GIFs I do on MMA Discord. Oliveira getting the backpack, Chandler standing is like, oh, whoa. All right, one more. Whoa. He's
dude, like, and like, how, dude, Michael Chandler is strong to just stand up, and just do that. But I was like wanting him to lean forward with one, just spike both your heads on the ground. Fuck it.
Yeah, Oliveira's down. Michael Chandler.
right. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, okay, obviously flopping to your back doesn't work. Just flop to the front this time. Slam both your heads on the ground.
Can you imagine the image of Michael Chandler knocking out Oliveira on the ground? One more. Boom. Just backflip over and over again. That'd be the funniest thing.
You probably would have gotten a Matt Hughes and God, who the fuck was that? Where he went out with a power bomb after that dude had the triangle on him.
Wasn't that Rampage Jackson?
No, it was Matt Hughes and fuck, I can't remember when he gets he's getting triangled and he fucking slams that guy.
Yeah, Frank Trigg.
No, it wasn't Frank Trigg either. Oh. It was I can't remember. Anyway,
yeah. He was the middleweight, welterweight champ right before then, and it was on top of the cage, and then bam.
Yes, I think you would have gotten a moment like that where both guys would have been knocked out. The referee's like, but yeah. So should Charles be the number 1 contender after this fight?
Yeah, Carlos Newton.
Yeah, Newton.
Carlos Newton. Yeah. I'm not sure. Honestly, like if Oliveira had won the 5th round dominantly and just got an unbelievable, like, oh, he's beating everybody kind of performance, I'd be like, yeah, give him the winner of Islam versus Arman, because I think Islam versus Arman is going to happen. Like, it's been announced from multiple sources for like January, so I think that's going to happen. But honestly, it was a fine performance. Like, I've heard from different like MMA YouTubers that's like, dude, Oliveira wins against Chandler, give him Conor McGregor. Oliveira versus McGregor, why not? Or Oliveira versus Poirier, or like some.
I
big
don't think
fight.
anybody should be matchmaking for Conor McGregor, who right now is in a civil suit for the R word. Yeah, he's not fighting anytime soon.
Yeah. So I guess if there's no one around, sure, make Oliveira the number one contender. He's the only one with the W in that lightweight top 5 that's not named Armin. And if Armin wins, especially book Oliveira for the title fight.
Yeah, that would be sick. Let me see here. Let me look at the lightweight rankings real quick.
Chandler just doesn't know how to get it done anymore. Yeah.
I mean, he had 2 years off.
Yeah, he doesn't get it done. He has great fights. That's what he does.
Yeah. Moicano versus Oliveira.
Ooh, I actually like that. But they are fellow Brazilians, so maybe they wouldn't agree to that fight.
I mean, the problem with lightweight right now is like you got the top guys all have lost to Charles Oliveira for Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So stupid.
Yeah.
And Dan Hooker is ranked pretty high.
Islam's going to have a super fight pretty soon if he keeps beating these guys. And you know what I'd make for Islam as a super fight? I'd have Topuria move up to fight Islam. That's the fight to make. I wouldn't have Islam versus Shavkat when he just won. I think Topuria versus Islam is the fight to make, given they're like similar heights, and it would be
Have him fight John Jones.
Grappling. Yeah, for sure. Give him John Jones. Where you at?
But, speaking of that, let's move on to the next one.
Fuck.
So we had John Jones knocking out Stipe in the 3rd round of their fight. Dude, Stipe looked good. I hate to say this, but it's like he looked good. He looked terrible. He looked like a shell of himself. He did not look like the Stipe that fought DC 3 times, but I already kind of knew that heading in that he wouldn't.
Right.
There was multiple times where he was landing clean on John, and John was running. Credit to John. I mean, it was sick seeing him, do some of that those vintage elbows.
Yeah.
Landing that sick spinning kick on Stipe to finish him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
honestly, it would have really sucked if Jones got it done how I thought he would, and just he took him down, he subbed him, or if he'd have gotten that knockout in round 1, like it would have.
Yeah, really, I mean, what is your assessment on the fight?
I think Stipe did way better than people were expecting him to do. Like, he was able to break through the guard in moments against Jones, catch him, got some good leg kicks on him. He should have exploited that more, given that Jones literally has a bandaged foot in every one of his fights. And these guys aren't stomping at the feet or kicking at the legs. Like, I don't get it, especially since Jones' biggest weapon is his leg kicks. Like, people need to, maybe it's the fear of the takedown. And honestly, I do get that, but you need to kick John Jones' legs a little bit, or else he's going to hit you with a big head kick or a kick to the body. And that's exactly what happened here. Like, I'm shocked that Miocic survived against Jones, but just in that 1st round. But it just goes to show that Stipe's tough. He got knocked out by DC, but in that 2nd and 3rd fight, he withstood a lot of fucking punishment from DC and kept on ticking. So good for Stipe for knowing how to survive on bottom, and then got some great body shots, got some 1-2s, uppercuts. Like, he was cracking through the guard, and Skatesman told me after the fight, this only proves to him more that he thinks that Aspinall is going to.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
So, congratulations to Stipe. Honestly, a great fight to end on.
Yeah, and he hangs up the gloves. But thought it was really stupid.
Video package for him, but a video package for Trump for 3 minutes makes all the sense in the world. And Michelle Watterson.
I'm sure they'll give him a cool thing when they induct him to the Hall of Fame. But yeah, so this fight proves to me that Tom Aspinall smokes John Jones. I had a lot of pushback from a lot of people saying, no, this proves that John smokes Tom. And I'm like, what? And honestly, Francis would have chinned John Jones flat. I truly believe this now, even more than ever. Francis is still looking good. And John, he looked okay. I mean, he looked okay against Stipe. He did get a finish, a good finish at that, but
he did look a little emaciated, a little staggering, limping a little bit. He looked slow.
It's just the hands. Like the hands aren't there for John, and he's not as dynamic with his elbows and certain things. Yeah, I mean, I truly do believe that Tom murks John, no question. But I mean, I do want to see the fight. I think it will be competitive. I don't think that Tom beats, like, if they fought 10 times, I still think like John would win like 4 of them, 3 of them even, you know. But I guess, well, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I did actually watch Aspinall's interview afterwards, and he said, "You know what? I found some holes in Jones' game watching that fight. I found some holes that I could take advantage of." And I just think that Aspinall and his dad and his whole team are like smart enough
His
that
dad
they
is
can.
actually John Fury.
He is, but his stepdad and his coaches, they're a really good team for Aspinall. And given that like Aspinall has all the tools to win, just one punch knockout power, great grappling, like he is the guy to beat John Jones. And with a great team that saw that fight and saw all the reads that they could do with Aspinall, like I feel like Aspinall could literally like grab Jones' guard, pry it open, bam. Because like he dropped Blades with a jab. He dropped Curtis Blades with a jab. So if he gets a 1-2 on Jones, that's a wrap. And then, like, I know Jones' chin is great. The one thing that I think could hinder Aspinall is that Jones is always running away when people are getting the strike on it. So maybe that, his punches won't land as flush. But at the same
Also,
time,
we have not seen Tom go 5 rounds.
yeah. So that
That's
is
the
something to consider.
only thing that is against him in this potential matchup that probably won't happen, because you remember when John was rumored to move up to heavyweight, which, by the way, he was rumored to move to heavyweight for like 5 years, and it never happened. But when he was rumored to be like moving up to heavyweight to fight Francis, do you remember what he said?
Did he said oh yeah, I got the Francis fight. We're gonna fight. Did he say
You
that?
know, he said, "I'll only take that fight if I get paid Deontay Wilder money."
And
And then
it's the same here. It's the same here.
we didn't see him for a long time, and then we had the MMA awards where he was there, and that's the night he beat his wife. So it's the same thing over again. He does not want that fight unless he gets life-changing money.
Dude, they got to have Jones on Predator watch after this win over Miocic. They got to be monitoring the house 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I defended John Jones in the preview show. I said, "Hey, I get it. You know, you want to fight for legacy, you want to do all that stuff, but I would argue that this fight didn't do anything for his legacy.
Yeah.
At all. It was kind of pointless. It didn't
I
prove anything.
Aspinall would give you a legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I am defending him a little bit. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here. It's like I do get
for sure.
I do get why he wouldn't want to fight him. I truly do at this stage in his career. Guy's accomplished everything. He's the greatest, UFC fighter of all time. I don't think there's really any question about that, unless you take off, the fact that he failed drug tests. You know what I'm saying? Clearly did use steroids.
Multiple times.
Yeah, but I mean,
I discount him from number 1 for that alone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. If he vacates the title and fights Alex, I will be watching. I'll be somewhat interested in the fight. But I really, truly hope that the UFC does not let that happen.
Me too. And Dana said that he wouldn't book that in a million years. So he doesn't seem happy about the fight.
Yeah, Dana White, notorious liar, said something. I don't believe him for a second on anything that he says.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to wait for Uncle Dana and Uncle Hunter to talk with him in his office. Very interesting and risque terms from John Jones in there. But yeah, he's definitely Uncle Hunter. And he then did a gay little dance to please the man outside. And then big how do you do afterwards to just exaggerate my suffering. And then the show wrapped up. So we'll see, dude. If honestly, if Jones signs for Wilder money and fights Tom Aspinall, I'd color me surprised, because I've seen from the last 5 or 6 months that Jones has been ducking, quack, quack, quack. And you saw it in the emojis during the pre-fight press conference. But when Jones did say, like, hey, we might just make the fight that everybody wants, like, my ears perked up a little bit. So we'll see. But don't expect it, everybody.
Yeah, again, I think he gets smoked.
He does. Yeah, and that's probably why he's been ducking it.
Would you want to see, and I know this is like pretty out there, but like, would you want to see him fight Francis instead of Tom?
Honestly, yeah. I'd love to see that if they actually put the fight together, but I know that UFC doesn't want that in a million years because Dana hates Francis's guts.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. Anyway.
They hate good fights. They hate super fights.
I'll tell you what, man. I was getting drunk on Bourbon Street all day long, so I am fucking cooked, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, all 6 of you. I know we stream at late times, but still, it's good to have all you in here and chatting away and keeping things lively in the chat. So we appreciate you guys. And until we meet again, Troopers and Grinders.
Tell them what you got coming up.
Oh, I have Tank Tier List Tuesday, doing a stream for the fighters that have been most fucked over by the UFC. Seemed fitting for, yes, Francis is going to be one of them. And, dude, they didn't even allow Aspinall to get into the cage. They had rows. That
was the dumbest thing. He was sitting right there sipping a drink.
Yeah. Just fucking sad, man. He always promises he's going to get into the cage, but he never does he? But, yeah, I'm going to be doing Tank Tier List Tuesday for most fucked over fighters. Interesting, kinky. And then Wednesday, we're going to have Hank's Think Tank for the craziest and cringiest MMA news every week. And then hopefully on Thursday, Idaho Skatesman and Hank the Tank can do our preview.
We'll do it. Come hell or high water.
We will.
Or a Texas tornado.
If we have to do it, if Skatesman has to do it in an MMA guru shed, by God, he's going to stream in that fucking shed. And honestly, in the future, Hank the Tank's probably going to be streaming from his shed as well. I'm going to have it built, damn it, for streams alone. But
cool.
Yeah, we got that going on. And then who knows what the fuck Hank the Tank's going to make. I'm actually considering making a video for this week, a recorded video, sort of a tribute to the Apex this year, since it's going to be gone for the next 3 or 4 months. So actually going to make a video about that. The pros.
Yeah, this is not my studio.
It is not. It is.
But thanks.
Impromptu. Hey, it's better than him streaming in his car. But until we meet again, Troopers and Grinders, you have escaped the war zone for now. Hasta la vista, Jonesy. Conor McGregor, where you at? Let's get red panty night, baby. Woo!